And we're back. Okay, let's talk some Target coupons. Okay, sometimes with these coupons, and these coupons can come in various forms. They may be a coupon you get from sending in a text to Target. They might be found at the top of the wallet part of the Target app. They might be a physical coupon that you get in the mail, or like the one I mentioned on Black Friday. Well, with these coupons, sometimes they can be used infinitely many times, even though in the fine print it may tell you they can be used only once. So it really varies. The moral is there, just don't automatically believe that it can only be used once despite what it says in the fine print. Now, it might be something that can only be used once, but keep in mind that you want to check to see if it's still there or if it will work a second time with these coupons, because you may be surprised. It may be an infinitely many use coupon, and obviously, if it can be used infinitely many times, you want to use it more than once. Goes without saying. When you do get those good coupons, like for instance, it's not uncommon for Target to run a coupon in toys. They'll run this every, well, I don't know, 2 months or so. But it'll be something like spend $100, get $25 off. Well, okay, if you have a coupon like that, whether it's a digital or not, it tends to be a digital one, by the way. When you do have a coupon like that, you want to really take advantage of it by using it with things that are on sale. Thus, you're creating a stack because you're stacking a coupon with a sale item, or something that's rarely on sale. For instance, the LOL balls don't often go on sale. So when they do run a sale like that in toys, I'll oftentimes use it on the LOL balls because I know that I'm not going to get that kind of an opportunity to get a good discount on the LOL balls on any kind of weekly basis. However, as I mentioned, if you use it with stuff that's on sale or on clearance, then you create a nice little stack, because not only are you getting it cheaper in the first place by buying something that's on sale or on clearance, then you're stacking it with one of these coupons and getting an extra 25% off, assuming you buy $100 worth. So when you get a coupon like that, really take advantage of it. Buy smart. Buy stuff that's on sale or clearance, or stuff that rarely goes on sale. Speaking of clearance, let's talk some clearance here. Let's go a little bit more in depth on the Target clearance. Target basically follows a 3-tier clearance schedule. When something goes on clearance, regardless of the category, generally, not always, but generally, it'll start at a 30% clearance. I source a lot of grocery, so you'll see this all the time in grocery. Take just any season, whether it's a Valentine's candy, an Easter candy, a Christmas candy, doesn't matter. Generally speaking, the day after that holiday, the clearance will start on that candy, and it will be 30% off. And generally, with seasonal stuff, let me clarify this. With seasonal stuff, the way it will usually work is it'll be 30% off at first, and then after about 2 or 3 days, it'll go to 50%, and after about another 2 or 3 days, it'll go to 70%. Now, this is not written in stone, but that's kind of the general way it works. Some Targets, if you're really lucky, depending on where you live, you can even get above 70%. You might see an 85 or a 90%. But a lot of Targets, or at least my Targets out here in Fresno, they will basically generally get rid of stuff if it doesn't sell by the time it's 70% off. Now, that was basically for the seasonal stuff, like seasonal candy, for instance. With other things, such as a toy or a sheet set that goes on clearance, it will follow the same schedule usually. However, the difference is it'll basically be 1 or 2 or more weeks between. Now, I'm going to talk about the days as they tend to knock down the clearances on the categories, but what I mean on these categories is that, say with toys, you may see a toy go on clearance at 30% off. And then before it goes to 50, it'll probably be at least 1 or 2 or 3 weeks. They don't go by days, it's generally in weeks. And then once again, another 1, 2, or 3 weeks later, that same toy will drop to 70% off if it's still available. So getting a little bit more clear on what I mean by that schedule is they tend to have certain days that certain categories are marked down. For instance, toys and bedding usually are marked down on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Now, once again, this is not written in stone, but that's the general trend for Targets. So you want to stay on top of that and know when your targets are marking stuff down. If they're marking down the toys every Thursday and there's a toy you have your eye on that you want to buy, make sure to check back the next Thursday or 2 weeks from the Thursday it was marked down or what have you, because that's when they're going to mark it down again. Most likely will be on a Thursday. With Mondays, you'll see electronics markdowns. So if you're looking for an electronics clearance, check in on Monday morning. See what stuff they put on clearance or see what stuff got put on an even deeper clearance. But nevertheless, know your schedules because the different categories vary on their days and they do vary from target to target. It's not set in stone at any one target. So keep that in mind. You want to be able to get there on the day they mark stuff down. That way you'll have the first pick before other people pick it over and there's less stuff available. As I've already said, clearances vary from store to store. They are not all the same. As I already said, I've seen it literally where a $200 item was 70% off at one store, and in another store it was either full price or 30% off. So keep that in mind that just because an item is, say, 30% off at one Target, it doesn't mean it won't be 70% off at another Target, or vice versa. Just because you can get it at 70% off at one Target, that doesn't mean all Targets will have that particular item, whether it's a toy, a beauty item, or whatever. It doesn't mean that all Targets will have that same item at that same discount. So keep that in mind. Another good way to run clearance or look for clearance stuff is perimeter perusing. And I forgot who I heard this term from, but all that means is basically you go around the outside part of the store, basically along the walls, because that's where the clearance stuff tends to be. It tends to be on your end caps or towards the walls of the store, or the perimeter of the store. That's just the lower value shelf space. So if you're looking for some good clearance stuff, that's what you want to do is walk around the perimeter, the walls of the store, and check your end caps and look for clearance stuff. That's not the only place clearance stuff is, but this is a good tip for any store. Walk around the perimeter and you might be surprised at some of the clearance stuff you find. So that's a nice little tip that not only is good at Target, but it's good at other stores too. Peruse that perimeter. Another way you can look up your clearance is to go to brickseek.com. You can do the free version of brickseek.com or you can get the paid version. Now the paid version is better because it'll allow you to see what stores have what clearances, and it'll tell you at stores like Target, Walmart, Lowe's, I want to say Office Depot, possibly Staples. I forgot all the stores, but at any rate, it'll tell you the different clearances. It'll tell you what stores have how many of an item and what the percentage off is. Now, BrickSeek is not perfect, let me be clear about that, but it can be useful nevertheless because it does have a certain degree of accuracy. So if you want to know what stores or have basically what items on clearance and for what percentage off, take a look at brickseek.com. Once again, it's not perfect, but it's not completely imperfect either. All right. One nice thing about Target, unlike certain stores that are specific to one category, is Target allows you to hit numerous categories. You're not limited to, say, just toys or just beauty or just home goods like you might be at certain stores. I used to source Toys R Us a lot back when it existed, and it stands to figure that Toys R Us only allowed you basically to source well, it limited you, let me put it that way. You could source toys, you could source baby, you could source electronics. Technically, you could even source some food at Toys R Us, but generally you would source toys. Point being, Target has numerous different types of items, and thus you have numerous opportunities to hit numerous categories. You've got a nice toy section at Target that can give you great prices that can beat Walmart out depending on the week. You've got a nice selection of bedding. Character bedding is fantastic. I love sourcing character bedding, as I've mentioned before. Stuff, just characters like PJ Masks, Paw Patrol, Mickey Mouse. That's all I mean, basically kids bedding. Target's got a nice selection of that. They've got sheets, they've got blankets, they've got throws. They've got other brand name stuff like that are throws or electric blankets or what have you. So you can hit the bedding category, and that can be a very nice category. I've sold many, many, many things in the home and kitchen category. You've got a great grocery selection at Target, which I constantly am hitting up. And you've got all kinds of groceries. You've got seasonal groceries, you've got daily groceries, and just a very wide selection of groceries. You got the beauty category you can hit up because they've got a whole beauty section with all kinds of brand name stuff that runs discounts all the time in the form of gift cards or just general sales, sometimes Target Circle offers. They'll run some good clearances in beauty, and that's especially a good one for perimeter perusing is the beauty category because they tend to put that stuff on the end caps. You've got a big electronics section. Maybe I shouldn't say big, but you have an electronics section that's certainly not small. And you can source all kinds of things there, whether it's video games, whether it's, heck, TVs if you want. Yes, I've sold TVs before. Whether it's video game systems, whether it's music, whether it's whatever that goes with electronic stuff. Come to think of it, I guess music would be its own category. But there are all kinds of electronics there, point being. So there are all kinds of electronics you could source if you want to. You got your whole baby section. I'm not big on sourcing baby, but baby's a category that you can, of course, make money in. I do source it from time to time, and I have. And Target's got a good baby section, and they'll oftentimes run gift card offers, sometimes Target Circle offers, and of course, different sales. So the baby category is another one you can go hit up at Target. You got a whole pet section for dogs, cats, what have you. I don't really do a lot of sourcing in the pet category. I just haven't found it to be too lucrative, but I'm sure it can be done. It's just not my forte. But nevertheless, if you sell in the pet category, hey, they've got all kinds of stuff to source over there in the pet category. And of course, kitchen. Target's got all kinds of kitchen stuff. You know, you got your frying pans, you got your cooking sets, you got your spatulas, you got knives, all kinds of stuff. So you've got all these different categories you can source at one store. There's just a lot of opportunity, and that really is nice. So what is our strategy here? Well, this is really true for any store. I like to let the store tell me what to buy. And Target's a fantastic example to use because, as I've already mentioned, they have all kinds of ways to get your price down, whether it's circle offers, whether it's sales, whether it's clearance, whether it's something else. So when I say let Target tell you what to buy or let the store tell you what to buy, I'm simply just telling you to pay attention to what you can buy cheap. Ask yourself, what's on sale? What's on Target Circle? What can I buy at a discounted price? Because once again, we make our money when we buy, not when we sell. So if we buy low, which is our goal here, if we buy low, we can't help but make money. So look for the items you can buy cheap or buy low. And that's true, once again, at any store, not just Target. As I already said, you make your money when you buy right. And I think a lot of people overlook that. They get so caught up in the selling part that they forget if you buy right, you can't help but make money on the sale because you've got a lot of wiggle room. And the more wiggle room you have by buying low, the more profit you stand to make. So you've got to make buying low or buying right your priority. If you do that, not only can you make money, you can also beat out your competition who did not buy right. And I assure you, there are a ton of Amazon sellers that are not buying right. They're not getting a great price. So if you can beat out those sellers, you're in a very good position. As I've already said, when you find that good sale where you can really buy low, that's when you strike. You got to strike while the iron is hot. Get out there and pound the heck out of that item or items, whatever that sale is. Me, for instance, I've been buying a lot of Easter candy this week. I love selling Easter or seasonal candy. And this week, honestly, Target, CVS, and Walgreens have all been hot. So I've been hitting those stores and hitting them hard this week. But once again, it doesn't matter if you're selling seasonal candy or what you're selling. When you get that good opportunity, get in there and strike and buy the heck out of that item. Now, another little thing to keep in mind, and this is often overlooked too. Target.com and Target the store do not always have the same price. I've seen it where it being any item, but I mean, it could be a grocery item, it could be a toy, it doesn't matter. But where the item is much cheaper on Target.com than it is in the store. And sometimes vice versa. I've seen it too, where it's cheaper in store than it is on Target.com. So what you want to do is, if you're buying something, check both. Check on Target.com and check in the store. And if you're wondering what it is on Target.com, just use your Target app and scan it, because that's going to tell you what the online price is. If you're looking for the in-store price, use the price scanner in the store that you'll find on different aisles. And keeping along that thought, keep in mind that if you want to buy in mass quantities, sometimes Target itself, or Target.com, excuse me, is better. The problem with Target.com is they will ban you. I'm on a pretty hard ban from Target.com. They pretty much cancel my order before I even hit submit. There is a way around this using a VPN. It's a bit tricky, but it can be done. I can show you how if you need me to. But at any rate, the moral of this point right here is make sure you're checking both Target and Target.com because you want to get the cheaper of the two prices, obviously. And if you're at Target, if you're in store and the .com price is cheaper, they will match the .com price. Just scan it and show them that this is the price on Target.com, and they will match that price. Now, some Targets are a little bit more of a stickler and they'll only let you do it for one item or so, and some items will let you do it for as many as you want to buy. Nonetheless, once again, and this is really true for any store, check the .com and check in-store both. You never know which one will be cheaper because the price is not always the same. All right, some other pieces of advice here. I shouldn't have to say this, but be nice. Don't give the employees or managers a reason to not like you. If you're nice and they like you, they're more likely to work with you or turn a blind eye if you're abusing a promotion they have. So be nice. Don't get disliked. If they don't like you and they don't want to work with you, that's not going to benefit you. Also, keep in mind, some cashiers are sticklers, some are not. So, if you're at a Target frequently, learn which cashiers are looser with some of those promos and which ones are the sticklers. Because sometimes with some of those promos, they'll get really strict with you and say, well, you're only supposed to be able to get 2 promos per checkout. That's usually not enforced, but sometimes it is. So some cashiers, like I said, are looser with the rules than others, and some are sticklers. And if you do have that going on at any Target you're at, learn which cashiers to use and which ones to avoid. Self-checkout, as I've already mentioned, is a nice way to go because you don't have to worry about what I just mentioned above. And if you want to do numerous transactions, self-checkout can be a great way to do that. Some Targets will limit you to 15 items only in self-checkout. Some don't really care. So once again, it's going to vary from Target to Target. Just kind of learn how each Target works, how loose they are with some of their rules, how strictly they enforce 15 items or less at self-checkout, what have you. Different Targets with different management, different employees, they're all going to handle things differently. I, for instance, have one Target that they don't let me buy more than 5 of one thing at a time. And I've got another Target where I could probably sit there and do 10 transactions at self-checkout, no one would blink an eye. So it just varies from Target to Target. Ask managers if they can or will work with you. Target's not very loose in this regard. I have had it where they've worked with me and given me extra discounts. You may not have a lot of luck with this, but you can always ask. Ask the managers, hey, if I were to buy all this, would you be willing to give me an extra 10% off or what have you? Or if it's something on clearance, maybe they can knock that clearance price down even further. Now, they may not be able to work with you, but you never know. They might be willing to. And this is true, once again, for any store. Don't be afraid to ask. If they say no, then they say no. But you might get lucky, and they might give you a really good extra discount that you wouldn't have gotten if you hadn't just asked for it. I already mentioned this too, but split your transactions. If you're looking to really take advantage of certain coupons or circle offers, split those transactions up. Take advantage of those offers, use them more than once. Now, this part happens all the time where errors occur. You might get a Target circle offer that for whatever reason, it just didn't take on the transaction, or the cashier didn't properly scan the right amount of items, what have you. There are different things that can come up. But if this happens, just go get them fixed at customer service. Now, also having said that, if they get stingy with you on certain offers that can be used more than once, let them. And then just go over to customer service and let them know that a certain promo was not applied and get it fixed there. That's another little trick you can use if you have a cashier that's being a bit of a stickler with you. Also, and this is also good advice to any store, look for exclusives because stores have their own exclusives. And you'll see them all the time at Target where it says only at Target, for instance, on a toy. Those are oftentimes great sellers. You're going to have less competition. Generally, Amazon will not be on exclusive items. That's not always the case, but oftentimes it is. And as I said, you're just going to have less competition. One thing I like to do is I'll find store exclusives, whether it's a grocery or a toy or whatever, and then I'll make a bundle with items from other stores. That way, I have less competition because unless someone knows where that exclusive is found and they're shopping at that store, they're not going to be able to find that exclusive item to be part of the bundle. So look for those exclusives in whatever category you're in. Exclusives can be very nice money makers. I love exclusives. And make sure to get there early. But for any sale that is, whether it's a clearance, a sale, or whatever. And as I said here, the early bird gets the LOL balls, and I've sold a ton of LOL balls. And what I mean by that is, when there's a really good sale, you may find that the inventory goes somewhat quickly. So if you get there early on the first day of the sale or the first day of the clearance or whatever, you're going to get the pick of the items. You're going to be able to get those items that may sell out quickly. So learn when the sale's going on and get there early. Be one of the first there, and you'll have the pick of the items. Same thing for when they restock. If you know they restock on certain days and they do it, say, in the morning, hey, get there around that time and you'll have the pick of those items. So take advantage of that fact, assuming, of course, your schedule allows you to do that. All right, so that's really it for that. Well, so I'm going to go over to target.com here on the next video, and I'm going to just kind of show you some of this stuff, and then that'll possibly be where we wrap it up. So let me just cut this off right here.